Previously on X-Men.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy C Sims, and this is That Comic Show. So this year for comic book movies has been awesome, with some exceptions. Shazam was meh. Hellboy was blah. Endgame was yes. And now we've been given another comic book movie by the name of Dark Phoenix, and oh boy. So we're just gonna get right into it. This is gonna be a spoilers heavy review. Spoilers heavy. That means that I'm gonna ruin everything about this movie. So in actuality, you should be thanking me by the time this video is over, because I'm saving you from seeing this movie with your own two eyes. You can experience this movie through my voice, through my eyes, and what I had to see. So let's just get right into it. As you can see, I'm by myself, clearly, but we're gonna touch on it a little bit later on in other better reviews. But let's get right into it. So we're going to talk about pros, we're going to talk about cons, speculations, and of course the ranking. So let's not waste any more time. I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's get to it. Now, the pros. The pros for this movie, well, you got to give the people at Fox some credit. They actually decided to be serious about this installment of X-Men. Now, the last time we saw Dark Phoenix, we saw her in X3, The Last Stand. And that was just a piss poor type of movie, but at least that movie knew that it was not trying to be a great movie. It was trying to just be a popcorn movie for the Marvel fans and for X-Men fans. But when it comes to this movie actually tried to be serious. And I gotta give it credit for that. It knew what it wanted to be. It wasn't confused or anything like that. It knew exactly what it wanted to be and knew exactly what it wanted to do. However, when it comes to, you know what, I'm not going to go into that. We're talking about pros. Pros. Stick with pros. What other pros do we have? The pros was with two main characters. Well, not the main characters, but two characters. Quicksilver and Nightcrawler. Those two characters was absolutely the pros of this movie. I love their powers, especially Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler gets mad. And when he gets mad and angry, he turns into this beast of a character. I thought it was awesome. I said, why aren't you in this movie more? And guess what? He wasn't in this movie at all. He was in the beginning and then he was at the end, which kind of sucked. I mean, he was there throughout the movie and everything like that, but they didn't utilize him as they should have. And, you know, that could be a con, but at least it was a pro to see his character. Now, when it comes to my man Quicksilver, I don't understand why Fox only used Quicksilver in small dosage. You need him throughout the entire movie. But then again, if you have him, there's no conflict. But let's not even think about that. Quicksilver, in the beginning of this movie, he did some... Well, it was kind of the same thing as Apocalypse when everything was slow and he was kind of running through everything and, you know, the slow mode everything. I thought that was awesome what they did with his character, but, you know, unfortunately, he was out of it before it even began, and that kind of sucked. Another pro is with the actual character outfits. We actually see the yellow and blue outfits. I mean, it only took them 20 years to finally give us a good depiction of what the X-Men costumes would look like, and finally they did that, and I thought that was a good touch. Finally they did something like that. Yeah, that's gonna do it for my pros, honestly. The costumes was great, the two characters, and the fact that it knew that it wanted to be a serious movie, and I thought that was good for them. Good job. Now let's get into the cons. The cons, there were many, so I'm gonna go from the beginning to the end. First con, Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique. Why is this actress still in this role? You said that you don't like this movie. You say you don't like to be in the makeup seat for like 4 hours and wear all this heavy makeup. So why are you back here? Why are you even here to begin with? Her character development has been so crap from the beginning all the way to this point. If you know anything about WWE and you know anything about the Big Show, and more accurately, Sasha Banks, she goes from heel to face within the matter of days and months. This is the same thing that we see with Mystique's character. 1 minute she's a face, 1 minute she's a heel. I don't know what she wants to be. I don't think she knows what she wants to be. And in this movie, she was around at the end of the movie. She was saying, you know, you guys aren't children anymore. You're X-Men. That's what she said. And she said that you guys are going to be in the world. And now that they're in the world and they're doing the things that the world needs them to do, she has a problem with Professor X sending them out on missions and saying that they're children. But I was like, wait a minute, you were the one who said that they are X-Men. They're not children. Then she gives this line like, and it seems like the women are always the ones saving everybody, so you might as well call us the X-Women. And I was like, oh, that was just so badly scripted, and that was just badly delivered. A person like her shouldn't have been delivering that line. It was just really bad altogether. I gotta jump back to pro real quick. Another pro. Jennifer Lawrence dies in this movie. Mystique dies in this movie, and that was the best part of the movie to me. When she got killed, I was like, finally, great way, get her out the movie. She only shot like maybe 1 or 2 days. Get her out the movie. We don't need her for the rest of the movie. See ya. And I love that. I love that she's gone. Thank you. But, you know, too little too late is the last movie in the franchise. Maybe. But, you know, whatever. Anyway, back to the cons. Now, there's a lot to digest. There was no Shi'ar Empire. They went to space for no reason. They went to space to stop this storm cloud from hitting these astronauts, and obviously the storm cloud wasn't really a storm cloud, it was the Phoenix Force, but they don't really go into the Phoenix Force. And they show how this Phoenix Force gets inside of Jean Grey. But wait a minute. In Apocalypse, she had the Phoenix Force at the end of Apocalypse, because when she let out all her power, she was in the symbol, the silhouette of a phoenix, and the phoenix power was emulating out of her. So if it was emulating out of her in Apocalypse, why on earth are we even concerned about it now? Because it was shown in the 80s that it was resonating out. This movie was very weird, because the last movie took place in the 80s. This is supposed to be 10 years in the future, and everybody looks exactly the same, as if it was just a couple of days later. It wasn't like it was a couple of years later. It was like the two grizzled characters of Magneto and Professor X. They don't even look a day over the age that they look in First Class. They didn't even use prosthetics to make the two actors look older, as if years have gone by. They are 60 years. Well, Magneto is around 60 years old, and he doesn't look a day over 40. I don't understand that. It's just bad storytelling, and it's just poor detail on the side of Fox. It's clear that they just wanted to get this movie out and done with, which I don't know why. Nobody was asking for this movie. Nobody was asking for a Dark Phoenix movie. It was weird that they went ahead and did that, but they did it. So let's move on. The villains of the movie, apparently they're shapeshifters. They were supposed to be Skrulls, but they're not Skrulls. I don't remember the name of them. Honestly, the movie didn't take the time to explain who they were, why they were here, what they were looking for. They used little snippets here and there, but it was just like, okay, you're a generic race of people, and you're trying to get the Phoenix Force, but you're not explaining why you need the Phoenix Force. You're not even explaining what it is that you guys are trying to do. You guys are trying to take over the world and make the world your world and make it better. It just doesn't make sense. It's just rushed. Anyway, keep going on in the cons. Man, what else? The storyline for this movie was very, very bad. It was very poorly put together, in my opinion. There were better storylines. At least Apocalypse had a motive. He knew what he wanted to do. He needed 4 horsemen. He wanted to transfer his consciousness into Professor X, and he wanted to, be the most powerful mutant of all time. And I get why he wanted to do the things he wanted to do, but I don't understand this whole Phoenix Force thing and why Jean Grey was turning evil all of a sudden. I mean, you literally had the same power in Apocalypse, and you didn't exhibit any type of, craziness or anything like that. They just put everything together. That's why I said in one of my other reviews. I think I owe Last Stand an apology, because again, Last Stand knew what it wanted to be. It wanted to be a popcorn movie that made no sense, and that's exactly what it did. This movie wants to be serious and be taken serious, but there was nothing in this movie that helped it to be serious. I mean, why even use Dark Phoenix if you're not necessarily going to use Dark Phoenix? It just doesn't make any sense. It's basically Jean Grey with her power level turned up to an 11. That's all this is. And there was a couple of good spots here and there. I mean, she made Professor X walk over to her. I thought that was really good. How they made her walk and everything, made him walk to her and everything like that. I thought that was pretty intuitive, but then didn't work out. The fight scenes in this movie was, I don't know, was mediocre at best. There was a couple of good scenes on the trailer, on the train that they were on. Magneto, he did some crazy, stuff with his power and all that. His Brotherhood, they brought back the Brotherhood and everything like that. I mean, a lot of these things were very forgettable. A lot of these things were like hit and miss. It really didn't make a lot of sense to me in the fabric of this entire movie. What else? What else was there? Yeah, just the lack of direction. I mean, I get that this was the last movie and they were trying to just get across the finish line, but man, did they do a horrible job getting across the finish line. It was just bad all over. It was a lot of, like, the storyline didn't make any sense. The motivation of the villains didn't make any sense. The whole point of the whole Phoenix Force getting inside her didn't make any sense. Why would you even have that in the last movie if you have it in this movie? Didn't make any sense to me. No Stan Lee cameo. Okay, fine. Alright, I knew he was alive when they were filming, but, whatever. They decided to go a different route. I'm just very disappointed. This is 20 years. This is the 20th anniversary of X-Men, of Fox Marvel, and this is the movie that they commemorate our 20-year anniversary. This is the movie that you decide to give to us. This is the movie that's gonna follow up after Endgame. I mean, what movie can follow up after Endgame? I get it, but still, you could have did a little bit better. You could have been more cautious. You could have cared a little bit more about what we're doing here. I was even more upset too. At the end of Apocalypse, you see all the X-Men in their original outfits. Why the heck were they not wearing their original outfits in this movie? Cyclops is not wearing his outfit, his original outfit that we saw at the end of the movie. We see none of the characters wearing their outfits. We see them wearing the same generic outfit, the yellow and blue, even though I like it and it's from the comic books. Good job. Why weren't you not wearing the original outfits that you guys already showed that you have? This movie, Dark Phoenix, probably one of the worst movies in the X-Men franchise. It was not enjoyable. It was very poorly written. It was poorly put together. He said there was a lot of reshoots and retakes. Yeah, you can see that. Very clear. Speculations. To be honest with you, the speculations in this movie, I really don't have none. I had one, but guess what? They didn't really care to even go further into it. Essex Corp. What happened to Essex Corp? What happened to that lead off into this movie? Every time Fox decides to give us an Easter egg at the end of the movies or a little after credit thing, it leads into the next movie. That Essex Corp was supposed to lead into this movie. They didn't even mention it. They didn't even show it. They didn't even say nothing about it. Nothing. It probably would have made more sense for them to just go that route instead of doing Dark Phoenix, or go that route and still introduce Dark Phoenix within that story. You can eliminate those aliens and you can still have your whole Phoenix thing and that whole space thing. You can still do all that stuff. You can have Sinister in the movie, but no, you don't care. In the 90s, we grew up on X-Men. In the 90s, I grew up on X-Men, so I expected to see X-Men in that light. And I'm so happy, I'm so glad that X-Men the property is going back to Marvel Studios, because I believe that Marvel Studios will give us exactly what we saw from the 90s, what we remember from the 90s. I believe that they're going to give us the characters, they're going to give us the costume design, they're going to give us the storylines. That's all going to make sense. And it's unfortunate that Fox had this property. They gave us some great movies. They gave us the Deadpool movies. They gave us Logan. They gave us Days of Future Past, kinda. They gave us X2. And that was it. Everything else was like bad to trash. And this movie right here is between bad and trash. I can't really make up my mind. I don't even know if I want to see it again to really make up my mind. It was just a really bad movie. So no, I have no speculations for this movie. I hope that this property is now done and is dead, and it doesn't rise again in Fox. I hope it rises again in Marvel, and Marvel does it right. Of course they will. It's Marvel. The rankings. So I rank this movie a solid 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. And the only reason why I'm giving it a 3 out of 10 is for the main 3 reasons that I gave for my pros, which was the costume designs, which was the colors from the comic, which I love. My man Barknoff or Nightcrawler, and of course Quicksilver. Those were the only 3 highlights of this movie that I truly enjoyed. And other than that, everything else, crap. I didn't like anything else. It was a bad movie. It was a bad attempt. I don't know why they did this. I don't know who was asking for this. I don't think nobody was asking for this. Apocalypse it ended in such a dud. We just wanted it to end and go back to Marvel. And they decided to make more movies, which I don't know why. But whatever. Make your money. Do what you want to do. It is what it is. Yes, I know this review is very negative. It sounds very negative, and it is very negative. I think Marvel has set a standard for comic book movies that mediocrity is not going to cut it anymore. Movies that are just okay is not going to cut it anymore. Movies that seem to look like it's going to be a hit and then it comes out to be some mess and nonsense is not okay anymore. Marvel has taken the time to give us great movies, taken their emotions and put it into the movies so that we could be emotionally connected to the movies. I think it's about, I can't even talk right now. It's about time that other comic book studios do the same thing. So I'm not looking forward to New Mutants. That still is supposed to come out. I hope that doesn't come out. I'm honestly not looking forward to the Joker. I'm not looking forward to Wonder Woman. And I don't know. It's kind of messed up that I'm not looking forward to those movies. I'm still going to watch those movies and give those movies a chance. But I promise you, if it's mediocre, I'm leaving. I'm walking out if it's mediocre. Those days are done. The 90s, the early 2000s comic book movies, those days are done. It's time for you to bring it to the table. And Marvel, if you take a step backwards with this next movie, Far From Home, which I doubt, but if you do, I'm going to get on your case too. You have put the level of expectations all the way up here, and everybody should be expecting your movies to be at that level. That goes for both studios. So let's stop messing around. Let's stop playing these games. These comic books are very important to people, and you set a precedence now. So now it's time to put up or shut up. And thankfully, that's what Fox is doing. You shut up, you gave that property back to who could do it better, which is Marvel. Kevin Feige, looking forward to what you can do with X-Men. Because Lord knows, Fox don't know what they were doing with that property. Anyway, this was that review of Dark Phoenix. So go out there and check it out on some type of free streaming something. Don't give your money to this crap. This is something you could pass. You can actually watch this on TNT. Actually, no, you can't. No, don't watch it on TNT. Watch it from your phone. Something. Just no. It's not worth it. It's really not worth it. Anyway, once again, this is your boy Sam's. This was that review, 3 out of 10. I ain't like it. Thought it was crap. Why bother? Why bother? Sam's out.